What's going on, guys, and welcome back to episode 2 of F1 Manager 22. If you guys missed the last episode, it was a nice introduction video into the series, getting familiar with this game. There's a lot of really new, cool things that they added. Again, it's a brand new studio doing this game. So we really took that first episode to kind of dive in everything, explore all the new options, and really just get a feel for how the game runs. We definitely did a lot of things right. We did a lot of things wrong. But most importantly, we learned a lot, which was incredible. And spoiler alert, if you did miss that, go check it out now. But as you can see, we did start as Haas. So taking over the role from Gunther, trying to build this team up into its glory that it so desperately seeks in the Formula One world. But yeah, today we'll check out Jeddah race weekend number 2. Started off the series pretty hot. I mean, we were managing to get a couple points. Kevin Magnussen finished 9th place, which was a huge surprise. Granted that we kind of put the focus heavily into Mick Schumacher, just couldn't get his bearings right, had a bit of issues on those hard compounds. We did a different strategy than I think we're going to play out here going forward. But again, it's the tuning of the car. Everything's a little bit different. So in today's episode, we are going to give a try into the practice. We're going to manage the practice as well, because there's a lot of things that I think, you know, are part of that, where you can fine tune the car, get the drivers a little bit more comfortable, and really just focus on getting things tip-top shape before we dive into this Jeddah circuit, as you can see here, which is very soon. It's only 4 days away, so race weekend one after another. We're going to check out our email box here really quickly. All right, so as we check out our email going into this weekend, we can see that we did most things here. We checked this over in last episode, so not a lot of news here. Carlos Sainz won the Bahrain Championship, a really great race by him and the entire Ferrari team for that matter, finishing 1 and 3. We did have a special shout out, as you can see here, managing to get into P6 of the Constructors Championship with those 2 points, finishing 9th. So all in all, a really good start to this career, and just trying to focus on improving myself. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can control in the game to give our drivers a better chance at performing. But for myself, it's just learning the mechanics, learning when to do things. The biggest thing for me was I almost felt like I focused too much on both drivers. I see other content creators out there saying that they don't focus enough on both. But for me, I felt like I was switching a little bit too much back and forth, and things come at you super quickly that I should probably utilize the pause button a little bit more, make smarter decisions. But all in all, again, just a huge learning curve. Still managed to finish into that 9th position for 2 points, so can't be too upset. As you can see here, the confidence from the board is actually improved. So if we go over to the board, we go to board confidence, they're delighted. So the race performance, race weekend 1, they're obviously super excited. And that's nice. I mean, we want to obviously impress these guys early in the season, do as best as we can to really show them that, you know, we plan on building Haas into that team that they seek. You know, 6th or above is not an easy feat. We're currently at that position. That can change dramatically at any given race weekend. So to see that they have some confidence in us early is really nice. Excuse me. So as you can see, here is a little post-race debrief here. Basically, it says that our telemetry shows that high-speed cornering of car 1 could be better compared to the grid. We should design a new car part to improve this attribute. So for Mick, we actually noticed that in the race a little bit. I mean, maybe not the high-speed part of things, but we noticed that in some of the corners, he seemed to struggle, especially when he was on that hard compound. So we actually have a couple things that are going to improve this already in development. We'll show you that here in just a minute. But it's good to see that, you know, the AI recognizes this stuff as well. Same with defending. We unfortunately didn't get any development bonuses or points or whatever you want to call them for Mick, so that's something we'll have to keep in mind to increase his defending. I wasn't even that upset with Mick's performance. I just think it was a little lackluster compared to what Kevin Magnussen showed that the car could do. So just some things that we keep in mind here. And then from Fred here, we did have a scouting report come in. So actually a really good start. We covered this at the end, but just to go over it again, Jack here he's showing great early signs early that he could be a very good Formula One driver. Obviously, he has a 72 rating overall right now. He has the growth potential and aggression both at high. So being a young kid, this was somebody who kind of just picked from the group to scout early. We're probably actually going to send out the scouts for another longer scout, because if you notice with Jihan here, obviously has a really high overall rating right now, but his potential is not that great. His aggression is pretty low, so I don't think he'll fit in with our team right now, but it's cool to see that the scouting reports come back. They have quite a bit of data with them. You get a breakdown of all their stuff. So first thing we're actually going to do is we're going to send our scouts back out. So if we put this on Formula 2 and we look for Jack again, we're actually going to send them out for a 30-day detailed scouting report. So this is going to show me, you know, hopefully it'll show me things like what their current contract out is, any buyouts, things like that. Any more details they can give me about their rating. You know, obviously he's 19-year-old. We know what his potential is, but any more detail about basically anything would be really nice. And then we're gonna kind of forget about the last one we picked there. We're gonna look for somebody else to scout. We're looking at all the numbers here. We get into F2. So there's a couple like Logan here is 21 with a 70 average. Might not be that bad. We're looking for a little bit on the younger side. So obviously, Orshare right here is a 71-18. So maybe this is the guy we're gonna scout out here. I think I already know a little bit about this guy. I think he has quite a bit of potential to be a really good Formula 1 driver, probably in the next couple of years. So we're actually gonna send out the scout on a detailed one for him as well. Get the scouts out. Nice. I just want a little bit more redefined scouting reports, just to give me that, like, we have nothing about obviously this guy, but even on the first one we reported, some of these things were blank, with whether the contract, how much length is left. So that'll give us a nice drive, because if we're looking at our reserve driver, there's nothing wrong with Pietro here. He's I'm sure a phenomenal reserve driver, but you know, being a little bit in that mid-tier age, 66 overall, we're looking for somebody that kind of like Schumacher, who is a little bit more developed at a younger age, can come in and fit into our reserve. Because again, we don't know how this game is going to, for better lack of word, treat Kevin Magnussen. He is 29 years old. He's been racing for a long time. Whether his development, you know, is kind of peaked. Not a lot of growth there. Obviously, he's a super aggressive driver. We really like him on the team. But in a year, 2 years' time, who knows what this game's going to look like. Our season's going to look like, in this game. We're going to need a good reserve driver to fill in that spot, because I plan on keeping Schumacher as long as he continues to perform. Again, obviously in the real world, we don't really know what Schumacher's future with the Haas team looks like. It's shaping up like he might be picked over somewhere else, but for now, he is part of our team, and we're looking forward to that. We'll have a quick look at the Jeddah Grand Prix. Obviously, we know it's a very high-speed race. Top speed is key. Then you got things like DRS zones, high speed and cornerings, things like that. So to be fair, I'm not expecting our car to be I'm not overly confident in the car going into Jeddah for this one, because we don't have a lot of upgrades. Our car, if you saw in the preseason report, we were kind of mid-tier in a lot of mid to bottom tier in a lot of these important facets that it's showing here for Jeddah. So we do have some really cool upgrades coming in. If you look at our car part development current projects, we have the underfloor, which is going to be really nice for a kind of a overall speed upgrade, and then we have obviously the suspensions coming in as well. So some things coming in should be nice. We might actually start another project here, get something started on either at the end of last episode we were looking at the wing, just because we've decided we're going to focus on some of the downforce and you know, turn-based tracks, if you want to call it. So not the power circuits, you know, the long straights like Jeddah, which we're about to race in, like Baku, the city street there. Kind of focusing more on our cornering and our dirty air cornering. So things where we can just get the car turned in. So we're looking at chassis, but chassis is going to increase that top speed and acceleration. I think we're going to build the front wing here, and we're actually going to pop in a couple of these CFD hours. We're going to pop in a couple of these wind tunnels. I actually found out these wind tunnels, I thought it was a 42-day, like you have this amount of time over the entire course of the season, but this period right here, 42 days, you're actually going to get a message where that amount will roll over. So you're going to have that amount to spend again. So it's a good idea to throw these wind tunnels hours in here as early as possible for some upgrades, because as you can see on the right side of they affect the different numbers on the side here. So might as well use them, because if they're going to roll over and reset, we might as well get them out there for some of these early things. So we have a new wing in the process of being developed, designed, whatever you want to call it. You can see the differences here. So some nice downforce upgrades coming in. We're going to keep it all balanced. That was one thing I touched on last episode is, you know, we can tweak some of these things to give us higher speed, medium speed, lower speed, whatever we want. But for me, I think in season 1, the biggest thing is just getting a nice balanced car, because I'm not entirely sure if the Haas car is in the best place overall for a nice balanced feel. So we're going to keep it all balanced for now, focus preset. And we're going to throw a couple engineers into this as well. So if I'm looking at the timeline up top, again, the cost of this wing to rush it is just way too much money I'm willing to spend. Like, that's half of what the design cost is. So we're going to keep it at normal. If we look at the time frame, if we put 3 engineers, which will leave us a couple in case we want to develop something else, that gives us a similar timeline to what the other project is. That'll be 2 major upgrades going into that Spanish Grand Prix. Hopefully a nice big buff to the car, to our drivers. They'll have the confidence in the car and they can perform there. So for 700,000, we're going to purchase that new front wing, or design that new front wing, get that loaded up, and we're basically all set here to go into the Jetta Practices. So again, just going to actually run through these practices. I think it's a wise idea to get, 1, familiar with the mechanics, and 2, try and understand what we can do to improve, you know, both Schumacher and Magnussen's feel with the car, the trust in the car, maybe come up with some cool ideas for different setups. But we're just going to start off and see what happens. So now we have the suspension that came in. Again, we purchased the extra suspension, which is obviously huge. If we go to our warehouse, we go to suspension now, we actually have an extra, the new suspension that we purchased, or were given, I guess, it kind of was just given to us at the start of the race. We now have an extra one for each car, so 2 per car. So if they get into an accident or something happens where we're forced, we're not really needing to go back to the other one and potentially take penalties. We have that spare one. So it's always nice to have those in the warehouse ready to go in case any accidents or anything occur. We had another message here, race preview. Obviously, Ferrari won. It's kind of just giving us the heads up, but basically I'm all set, ready to go. Practice sessions are here. So now that we're in race weekend, got some race prep from our race engineer, as you can see. So it told us to check out the circuit. We already did that. We kind of know what to expect. It's going to be a fast race. Again, not fully expecting, hey, you never know. Maybe the Haas team can pull off some miracles like Kevin Magnussen had a great showing in the qualifiers. Get them a little bit higher in the grid and then just hold that position. But we're basically here. We're going to set some preparation for our performance targets. Again, big thing for me here early in the season, choosing a lower mid to, or sorry, a mid tier to lower tier car, but definitely towards that lower tier card, is not over promise and under deliver. You know, if we can stretch out some of these goals to get some money, that's the best thing. So obviously reach Q3, it's a little tough. I don't know. We did it. We definitely did it by barely anything. I think it was like 0.2 of a second, if not less. Qualifying position, you know, we can edit this, which is actually really cool. So we can say, well, if we're planning on trying to reach Q3, Q2 at the least, let's try and, you know, bang out 12th. I think that's actually probably pretty manageable. 12th is, if we're trying to reach Q3, that's 10th position anyway. Let's aim for 12th. I think we can get that and reach Q2. If we're aiming for Q3, what's the harm in aiming for Q2? We're either going to do it or we're not. So, pretty big potential reward there. Obviously, race targets, finished position. It's saying finish in the same position that we qualified. If you remember, Schumacher was, I believe, 14th or 13th, and Magnussen was 9th. So if you know, cut the difference, 12th is actually, they want both of us to finish inside of that. Little ambitious, but might as well. I know we're not going to be able to do the fastest lap, so we're keeping that. And same with the position. So a lot of money to be had here in Jeddah. I think this one is definitely possible with the qualifying. So we'll switch out here. And I think everything's all ready to go. We can basically prep ourselves for that race weekend. So let's head out to Saudi Arabia.
Formula One is back. Welcome to one of the fastest circuits on the calendar here at Jeddah. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is about to kick off, and the atmosphere here is electric. The Jeddah street circuit has one of the fastest average speeds, as well as the most corners of any track on the calendar. Good high-speed downforce is going to make life in the fast lane a little easier for drivers here this weekend. We might still be early in the season, but that doesn't mean we can sit back and relax. Everything is up for grabs, and nothing is certain at this stage. There's nothing like a race weekend in Formula One.
All right, so a beautiful introduction here at Jeddah. As you heard him say, it is one of, if not the fastest circuit on the track or on the schedule in this Formula One season. So looks like we got some pretty solid conditions, clear skies for both Friday and Saturday, and then a little bit of cloudy coverage into the Sunday. But all in all, no rain forecasted as of right now. We got 50 laps. Obviously have our sponsors. We know what our reports are. We're going to continue right into practice one, and we're going to control the entire thing this time. So as you can see, again, similar to what we had last time, hopefully get their track acclimatized. I can't even say that word. You know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to talk too fast and I'm stumbling over my words, but we're going to try and get these a little bit higher than they were previously. They're pretty familiar, both at 70% confidence. We want to make sure that's at, I believe, like 75 to 80 is where the minimum you want it. So this is basically what we're going to run. All in all, practice one is all set up, ready to go. And we're going to manage this, like I said. It is an F1 manager game after all. We might as well take everything in.
Radio check again, Mick.
Interesting. So we didn't get the voice line, but we got the confirmation that his radio is all set up and good to go. So practice is where we try and make everything as best as we possibly can. So we have the car parts, we have the tires. We're going to pop them on the softs there. And this is where things get interesting. You obviously see the front wing angle, rear wing angle, anti-roll, tire chamber, toe out. So this is very interesting. This is where setups get a little bit more of like a mini game. As you can see on the right here, you're trying to figure out in this little zone here where the drivers prefer, where they're most confident. So you're going to be tweaking these. And as you can see, as we tweak one of these, everything kind of shifts. So it's going to be like a nice balance to try and figure out where your driver prefers. So the best course of action is we're going to leave it right in the middle. We're going to send them out, for 15 laps so he can get familiar with it. And he's going to tell us what he likes and what he doesn't like. So that's exactly what we're going to throw out there for him. And we're going to send out Mick right away. Mick being our number one driver, we're going to give him the first practice session lap. We'll send out Magnussen here in just a moment. We're going to do the same thing again, not try and do anything too cute. There's a lot that we need to learn from these practices, so we're going to send him out in just a minute as well. Track is absolutely clear. It's not going to be obviously the most warm track. Rubber is very low, but again, just the beautiful design of this new Frontier game is just absolutely wonderful. It makes you really get invested in these races, really understand what these drivers are going through. I think the cockpit view looks wonderful. As you see, Mick, he's going to run his 15 laps here, and we're going to send out Kevin as well. So Kevin's going to get sent out, and then we're going to fast forward and skip to the end of 15 laps, and then we'll get the results back from both of them. So both of our racers are out there. As you can see, it looks like one of the Ferraris are stepping out in front of Kevin Magnussen there. We're just gonna give them their time, and hopefully they can come back with some useful information. Tell us what they like, tell us what they didn't like. We'll adjust the wings, everything, and hopefully we can find something that they're comfortable with and that they can use during the race weekend. So, like I said, we're just gonna skip ahead here. We got 15 laps to go through. What I really like about this setup is, if you're familiar with the Formula One flagship game, the Formula 122, what we do. It's a little different in the practice. Obviously, you're the driver. You just go out, you drive. You don't really get to see all the numbers or really figure out the settings. You have your car set up that you kind of pick from the start, and that's about it. In this, you get the feedback from the drivers. Their pros, their cons, their weaknesses, their strengths. You figure out what they like based on the car they are given, and they will let you know. If they don't like something, the reports are going to come back that they don't like it. And as you can see here, 15 laps are definitely needed because in order for them to really, if you were to pick a setup and send them out for 2-3 laps, they might come back for some information, but they're being accustomed to the track and really understanding it and what works on what corner is going to be zero. So it's a very fine line, and it's very it's kind of very fun to really just dive in and fool around with each of these drivers' cars and really figure out what works for them. And over the course of the season, you're going to learn things and you're going to get bonuses based on what you learn from these guys. So some exciting things. You can see we're not...
How's the balance?
So something's wrong with Kevin Magnussen's cars. You just saw that there. Setup confidence is bad. Okay, so he's not liking the setup, so we know right away he's not enjoying his time out there. We're going to let him finish as long as...
How is the balance? How's the balance?
Something's weird.
Yeah, so fully expected,
Okay,
right?
understood.
We knew that we were setting them out with very... as long as the car looks okay here, looks like everything's running fine, no damages on Magnussen's car. We fully expected that. Again, we kind of just picked the default. They're going to go do their 15 laps. Difference between this is obviously you have 60 minutes in the practice round to really figure it out. So we're going to get what they like, we're going to get what they dislike, and we're going to let them finish their 15 laps. Again, this is trial and error, understanding what they like, what they don't like. We're just going to keep skipping ahead here. But yeah, again, it's what I was trying to say is it's just very fun. It's very entertaining to do the risk and the rewards of really understanding what works and what doesn't work. So as you can see, our drivers came back in with 35 minutes left. And if we have a reconfigure here we go. So this is the driver setup. So basically he's saying everything we just tried, all of the default settings that the game gives us, basic, he doesn't like them all. He doesn't like them all. He has 3% confidence. So now it's our job as a manager to come in here and really understand what we think he doesn't like about it. So if we're saying all this is bad, we're probably going to want to move the first one somewhere this way because obviously it's closer to the minimum. He's going to want it probably closer to the max. Same with this. So now it's our turn to really figure out how we're going to get there. So if we put that at 9... So we're getting somewhere in the middle here. I don't know if I want to go too hard on the oversteer. That is one thing that we noticed with Mick is he did have some trouble with that in the first race. So I can understand why maybe that's bad on me as, you know, on the ownership management part of things where I didn't really clue into that off the bat. But again, it's just learning what they like, what they don't like, getting, you know, familiar with the track and what works. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run with the 15 laps again. We got lots of time to do that. Tires, we're going to give him a new set of tires there. We're going to confirm that. He's going to get reconfigured, and now we're going to have a look at Kevin Magnussen's. So Kevin, similar thing, doesn't like much of it, so kind of going to do a very similar thing. We're going to run his at 8 degrees. We're going to run the rear like that. We're going to just roll that. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep the tire camber and the toe out exactly the same because as you can see with other things, they moved out. Obviously his straights. We're just going to try that. He'll come back. If he still doesn't like the straights where they are, hey, he'll let us know. We got to pick new tires for Kevin. We'll confirm that and we'll send them both back out. So we'll get that all reconfigured. It's going to take some time. But yeah, this is the beauty of practice. This is the fun thing is now it's up to us. They told us what they liked, what they didn't like. We're going to reconfigure the car and send them back out. They're going to come back with the information. Remember, there's 3 practice rounds except for weekends. Oh, we got a crash.
Let's see what happened there. Okay, so there we have the Alpine.
What happened? Fernando Alonso. Oh, no. And he just slams into the wall. Oh, my word. So in practice, Alonso has hit the wall after... It looked like his back tire caught that curb a little too aggressively, spun out, and then slammed into the wall. So very cool little thing there with the replay mechanic. Get to see all those fun things on the track. So we sent out Schumacher here on the first lap. So we're going to send out Magnussen here first on our second lap. Hopefully we don't cause any crashes. That's pretty entertaining to see. Just unfortunate for the Alpine team and Alonso. He slammed into the wall. That's going to be some damages as we got kind of tangled up here with the Williams car, but again, just practice, no big deal. As we look at the overview, I think we're okay to send out Mick now as well, and this will be our second go about. So both the boys are on the circuit now, and now it's just a matter of same thing, just fast forwarding ahead and having them come back with the data. So this is where the management really, your skill set as a team really start to shine. You got to get them into a car that they're comfortable with. Otherwise, you're kind of just, you're setting them into a race that's not going to end well. They're not going to be happy. Obviously, if you do the full practice, simulate it, it'll probably balance it out. I don't think you'll probably have their familiarity with the track at 100, but you probably won't have their confidence in anything else. So very fun, very entertaining. We're going to figure it out for our team. And again, as we learn over the course of this entire season, I'm sure we can get the cars dialed in nice and tight to what these guys like. But super entertaining practice right here. As you can see, they should be returning. Another thing that we can also, cut back on the pace a little bit, just so they're not burning out their tires, because one thing that you might notice is if you keep them on standard, they're gonna just try and get fast laps all the time. And since this is a practice, since we don't need the fastest lap, we don't need anything. Like we're sitting pretty in the middle, basically where I expected. Let's save the tires a little bit, have some nice fresh tires, lots of fresh tires for qualifiers.
Kev, how's the balance?
So Kev still doesn't like the balance of the car, so he's gonna let us know that. Not the end of the world, fully expected. We'll see if he can clean that up or what he brings back to us. So far,
how's your balance?
It was okay.
There you go.
Understood.
So Schumacher enjoyed that setup a little bit more. So it's very interesting to see the differences between the two drivers. We had a pretty similar top of the setup between the two. Obviously, we left the bottom, so maybe something about that bottom Kevin didn't like. Schumacher seems to be enjoying it, and he seems to be doing okay out there. Again, we told him to ease off the pace to save the tires, so won't see, he's heading into the garage. We're going to see what it's at. So we're not going to see too many fast laps, any record-breaking laps out there from either of these drivers, but it's cool to see the feedback and have that, real experience with the driver. Like all these voice lines are super cool, super authentic. That's what happens when you get a fully licensed thing. So we're going to invalid configuration, obviously, with the tires. So he's going to let us know. So there you go. So with that setup, Schumacher thought the oversteer was great, thought the braking stability was still weak, so we got to shift it to the left a little bit. The cornering was good, the traction was good, and the straights was good. So obviously we met the one out, so we don't want to move the oversteer at all. He loves it right where it is. And we actually boosted that from, what was that, 8% to 59%. So in that little time, we actually had like a really good session there. And I think that's basically going to be it for our practice one. We don't really have that time. So I think, I'm not quite sure, pardon me, I'm not entirely sure how to, send it to the next day. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments if there's something that we can just progress to the next day. I don't see a button anywhere for that, so we kind of just have to play this out. But we're just going to let them rest. That's a really good day one. We got them bumped up. Actually, sorry, apologies. We didn't see Kevin's. So Kevin's, okay, so 50-50. He's enjoying the oversteer. We can probably boost it up similar to Mick's. Doesn't like the braking stability. That's even further than Mick, so we can bump that way. Okay with the cornering. Still hates the traction. His is only a 47. So you can see the differences between the two setups. Something that's, pretty exciting. We can probably even, tweak some of these here. Actually, let's get the day over with, and we can plan all this for day two. Only a minute left. We're going to have no time to get the car out there. Not going to get any valid data, sending them onto the track with 2 laps left. It won't amount to anything useful. So we'll skip over to day 2, session end, and then we'll get out of here for P2. And yeah, it's a wonderful start to the race weekend here in Jeddah. We're starting to get, Mick seems a little bit more comfortable with the setup. Obviously, Max Verstappen having a wonderful lap there on the mediums. We didn't even really send out any on the mediums. We might save some of the softs here for practice 2 and put these guys on the medium. So there's your numbers there. Pretty even-ish. Obviously, the setup confidence in Mick was a lot higher. So far he has that performance bonus, but not the worst. you know, we still have a couple more practice sessions, so hopefully we can get these guys all set up, all ready to go. We're going to keep the pace off for both of these guys, just trying to save the tires, like I said. No need to overkill it. Again, it's something that you just don't want. You don't want to kill all your tires. So for our man here, obviously that was good. I really don't want to adjust the first one all that much. If we can move it somewhere in the... Okay, so the toe out, we can move all the way that way. That moves that one to the right a little bit. I honestly think we're going to let him roll out with that. If we can just get the braking stability to a good, that's a pretty good start. And then we can really fine tweak it, change these numbers a little bit. But until we really get that out there, we're going to send him out on... So we want at least 3... Let's send him out on the medium compounds for this one. So he should be all good. Yep, he should be all good. Now for Kev, we're gonna choose medium compounds for him as well. And this is where we gotta fine tune some things real bad. So obviously the toe out needs to be adjusted. He still doesn't like. Let's try that. Let's just do something really dramatic where we're really changing the tire camber and the toe out. Maybe he'll be confident in this one. I'm not entirely sure, but there we go. Practice 2. And we're basically all set and ready to go. So again, it was a tip that I saw from other content creators. So
Radio's good.
radio's all good for Kevin. We're going to send him out. He is all ready to go. Just make sure that we got what we want on there. Yep, we're going to give it a go. So we're going to give it a try. Send Kev out there. He's ready to go. But yeah, anyway, a tip that I saw while watching other content creators play this game and get familiar with the game is try not to burn out your tires in practice. It's something that seems so simple, but it really is a really good tip to have because you're only given a certain amount. Obviously, you have the locked ones for the races. Those aren't going to get touched. You can't use them even if you wanted to. But really just focus on toning, unless you're like a high midfield to top end car where you're actually trying to see if you can post some really good numbers, what you're going to face going into the race. Don't wear your tires out. Keep the pace off, at least for part of it. Part of the race, turn your pace down. You don't need to overkill it. So again, we're just going to skip through, do our 15 laps, same sort of strategy, get the guys out there, see what they like, see what they dislike, and go from there. But I really am enjoying this system. I don't think it's overly complicated. Again, you can control pace, fuel, and ERS within. Make sure all your wheels and everything, engines, all okay. You know, call the car in, and then you have some driver things in race where you can tell them, you know, don't fight your teammate, things like that. Some team orders. So obviously, looks like Mick enjoyed it in the second sector a little bit more there. Looks like Magnussen's enjoying it a lot. He had 2 green sectors, so even on the medium compounds, that's really good to see. He just posted his best lap there. As I'm sure if we scroll down to our guys here, they're having some really good laps. Yep, so some nice times coming out of Magnussen. Mix is pretty steady. He's only had 1 lap that's better. So far, nice to see that the guys are at least enjoying so far these setups. Again, the biggest one was going to be Magnussen. He really did not enjoy the last couple, but that's the beauty of these games. I know management games are not for everybody, but if you enjoy those little tweaks, if you enjoy really fine-tuning the especially in a car racing game like Formula 1, where you have to really fine-tune and dial in your numbers and everything has to be to such a T, it can be so satisfying when you hit that mark and you see the performance in the car during the race. That is so exhilarating to me. I don't know why, I just love it. We'll check out the results here. We'll go to Magnussen first. As you see, it dials in. Okay, so there you go. Not quite sure why the confidence on the braking stability wasn't there, whether there just wasn't enough knowledge. We don't really have the driver setup confidence didn't get locked in, but as you can see, the oversteer is great, the cornering is great, and we bumped the other 2 to good. So realistically, we can just kind of fine tune a couple of these here to maybe dial this in even more. So I don't want to tackle that straight. I don't want that straight number to change. Let's just, right there, let's just see if just a little bit of change. Just a little bit. not much. Just really try and fine tune that in. 15 laps, same thing. Tires, we can honestly just use the same tires. I don't think, I see no reason why we can't use, oops. Let's confirm that. So he's good. We'll reconfigure. Let's see what Mick says. Mick enjoyed his. Okay, so we bumped his bad one to good as well. And the traction, we still couldn't get a read on it. So I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really figured out why the read doesn't get hit there. Let's just fine tune it just a little bit because I think he's enjoying it. So if we can, we'll give him the same tires as well. So now we'll send them back out. So all we did this time is they came back with some decent numbers or some decent responses to some of those things we changed. We just don't have enough data. So when they come back with question marks, I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of, 15 laps was good, but it wasn't enough to really grasp everything that they were trying to achieve. So we'll send them back out there for another 15 laps, see if we can fine tune it even more, especially for Magnussen. Get him out there and see if he enjoys, everything out there. Maybe we switch the pace. We're on some used tires, some worn tires. We'll switch the pace back to standard, see if they notice any difference. Again, this is practice. This isn't qualifiers. We're trying to get a read on everything that's all the data coming back and really trying to understand it as well. Have a quick peek. I know our lap history. So for Mick, it doesn't look like he's hitting any fast sectors here. Again, that's probably because of the worn tires. I'm just comparing some of the numbers. So they're all pretty solid. Like they're doing some okay numbers out there. We might switch them into smalls for the second half, or for P3.
Okay, understood.
So Kevin's experiencing some. So Kevin is experiencing some tire issues, which was fully expected. These were worn. They're at 32, 29, 29. We don't really care too much about the tires. It's good to know that what he can handle. So he notices some issues once they get pretty low. Not the end of the world. They're coming in just a few minutes anyway. No sense in pitting them and burning another set of tires just now. We'll switch them up for practice number 3. I want to throw them back out on the softs as well. So we save that soft for this. And yeah, we might push them a little bit. We might try some pace increases for these guys. Kevin Magnussen heading back to the garage. We'll see how he enjoyed that setup. Obviously, he'll probably have some feedback with the tires. But as we slow this down, we had a crash on the track.
There's been a crash.
Let's see another crash. So this time Yuki Tsunoda.
Look at this. It was the Alpha Tauri driver involved.
What happened to Yuki? Oh, he had a locked tire and he... Oh, that's a bad one. Straight on. So tire lockup lost all control. Looks like a front broken little wing. Yeah, the team is not liking that. So another crash here in practice. This is unbelievable. The teams are struggling.
VSC.
So we're going to call the car in now, obviously. Little unfortunate. I think he was about to come in anyway. Might as well get him called in. No point in burning the car out even more. So we'll see what he liked. Okay, so Kevin liked the oversteer, liked the braking stability. The cornering, I still got nothing on. And the traction is bad. So we're going to revert to the highest confidence setup. And we're going to tweak some things a little bit from here. So we know that with the highest confidence, he still didn't like the braking stability. So we know that needs to shift this way quite a bit. So we're going to shift it all the way that way. We're going to try the absolute extreme. We're We're going to try the absolute extreme. We're not going to send him out, though. We're going to get Mick back in, and then we're going to... There's a virtual car, so that accident was actually a pretty bad one by Yuki, so hopefully Yuki's okay. Hopefully they can get that car dialed in, and then we'll send this over to P3. No point in sending the boys out yet, so... Alright, so it's interesting. We obviously had... it looks like the oversteer is about as good as it's gonna get. I think that's going to be probably pretty good for the race. I think. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at where he finds comfortable. So when it was here, he said it was good. When it was here, he said it was best. We're getting closer and closer to that number. He's at 60% confidence, so he's almost to where we want him. But yeah, basically, we're just gonna let this play out, let the few minutes burn through, and then we're gonna... Yeah, it's still a virtual safety car out there where there's no point in sending the guys out now. Might as well just get them in the pits, get the practice 3 started, and we'll get the new conditions for these guys set out. So kind of it's a little bit of a challenge. Honestly, it truly is a bit of a challenge to find another crash. No way.
Now we see the
Latifi. Oh no!
That's an off.
Okay, so not that bad there. Little bit of a broken wing. The guys are struggling out here in Jeddah. Just the fast circuit taking this practice a little too extreme. So, pretty entertaining start to this Jeddah circuit for the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. But wow, 3 crashes in practice alone. Like, I can't wait to see what qualifiers in the race will bring. So, as you can see here, we had our stint on the mediums. Some things learned, some things not learned. We're gonna throw them back to the medium, or to the soft. Their track knowledge is getting pretty high there, so doing an okay job understanding that.
For the next day of our highly anticipated race weekend, which sees the end of practice and the start of qualifying.
There you go.
Each team will be looking to build on the progress they made during yesterday's practice sessions. When it comes to preparation, absolutely nothing should be left to chance. Everything has to be just right. Of course, by the time the cars hit the track, well, there are some things in Formula One that no one can prepare for. What does today have in store? Only time will tell.
All right, well, there we go. So we're on to the Saturday here. We have practice 3 followed by qualifiers. So we know what we need to do. We need to get the car fine-tuned just a little bit more. We're back on the softs. We got the car all fine-tuned for both of our drivers here. We're going to send them back out pretty much immediately.
Radio is good.
So first thing we're going to do is we're going to skip forward just a little bit, and we're going to let a couple guys go out before us, if they will. If not, I'm not going to wait too long. Okay, so we got Sonoda out there. We got a couple guys going out there now. We'll send out Mick. And then a little later, we're going to send out Kevin. All right, so we'll send out Kevin now. Basically, what I was trying to do is I was trying to minimize how much time we have on the very low track rubber, because obviously that is, it's not the most enjoyable. We're actually going to push these guys because we saved this. We saved the tires, so we're able to use them a little bit more here in practice 3, just ahead of qualifiers. As you can see, Magnussen's out, or sorry, Mick Schumacher's out there with pretty respectable time, actually. Not too far off Leclerc. Again, it's just practice, so it's still just trying to understand where our car sits, what they're doing. So all in all, we're gonna get some data back here from Mick shortly, and then followed by Magnussen. Just really trying to understand what they're enjoying. So as you can see, Magnussen's actually getting familiar with the track faster than Schumacher. So something about that car, he just seems to be getting familiar with the car faster. Well, then, as I say that, you see Schumacher's jump up 2 at the same time. So both drivers, maybe we found the balance that we needed, giving them that little bit of room to push a little bit faster here with the pace. Not worry about burning the rubber. Trying track rubber is still very low, so it's definitely definitely still not the best conditions just yet out there. No complaints from the team yet. Obviously, we have Mick coming in here, so we'll see what he likes. Okay, so that's a pretty good setup. We have no real knowledge of the oversteer. Braking's good, cornering's good, traction's good, and straights are great. Honestly, I mean, that's one of those things where it's now like, okay, well, what do you change? What do you really dive into to figure out what we could use? So obviously we want to save at least a couple tires here for qualifiers. So I think we're actually going to hop out to the hards now, get them on and see if we can just figure out anything, because right now the oversteer is the thing that is still, maybe if we put it right there, that's a healthy balance between everything, not changing a lot. That's just about as fine-tuned as I possibly can get it. So we're going to send him out with that. We're going to bring Magnussen back in just a few laps. So we're going to send him out. We're not going to waste any time because this is it. This is what we got. We're going to bring the pace back down for Schumacher. We're going to reconfigure Kevin's car here. See what he... So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to send him out on hards. But we just want to understand what he liked and didn't like. Oh my gosh. But there you have it. So good on the oversteer. Braking stability is great. Cornering's great. Traction's great. I'm going to guess the straight is pretty good. Is there anything we can just fine-tune ever so slightly? I think we're just going to leave it the same. I really do. The confidence is going to be high after that one. We just got to give him more time. So we're just going to send him out there as well. Honestly, I think that is such... That's awesome to see. Here we go. Car feels pretty good to me. We didn't get the voice line, but he's saying he's enjoying it. So that is great to see. We're going to back him off the aggressive pace as well. And we're just going to see if he enjoys it for the rest of the lap. So really good to see that Magnussen's out there enjoying the car that he has. Haven't heard much from Schumacher, but we also haven't heard anything bad from Schumacher. So hopefully he enjoys that. We'll see Kevin now. This is Kevin's point of view. He's up there putting in great numbers. So Kevin, our number 2 driver, showing the young gun Mick Schumacher how it's done out here early. But we're just going to skip ahead here. Hopefully bring them back with lots of time in case we want to do one final thing. They're both getting nice and familiar with the track, 83 to 81. Again, it's kind of just showing that when you find that really fine balance with the car, they're able to just really grind in and get a feel for the track much easier. As you can see the two numbers, just pay attention to the two track numbers here, 84 to 82. But it seems like Magnussen's is going up a little bit faster than Schumacher. So Ocon now, so the other Alpine here having an incident. So, oh, it just goes a little bit wide. So not the end of the world, not a crash. So unlike Alonso, Ocon manages to hang on there and just goes a little bit wide. But a lot of issues here in Jeddah. So this is proving that it could be a really interesting race here to start the second circuit of the season. So very entertaining stuff. It really gets, I don't know, when you really enjoy these games and, like I said, fine-tuning the numbers, and then you see all these things that you're out of your control, like all the AI and the driving is out of your control. You can control what these drivers do. You will not be able to control the driving. So it's very exciting to me. As you can see, the numbers are now almost perfectly even. As now Guan Yu spins out here. So Zhou just, oh my gosh, and he almost hits the wall there. Oh my word, that would have been disaster. This is just crazy scenes here in Saudi Arabia, but that's what I'm talking about. Everything is out of your control. You control what the car, you can give the car to these guys. You control how they use it. You do not control the car itself. It is wonderful to see. Okay, there we go. So Schumacher's back. We found the optimal steering. Everything else is good. We still don't know about the straights. I'm pretty confident with that. He has a 95% here. Car knowledge is at 100. We just got to hope that he has that confidence that you know, we can get him in there. So if you look at the bottom numbers, his highest confidence is at 9.0. So right now it's at 8. Highest confidence. So if we go 11.5 and 9. Highest confidence 7.3. So if we shoot that down just a little bit and then bump this up a little bit. Should we send him out there and see if he likes that? We can always revert it to the last one. So what do we send him out on? That's the question. Just the same hards? Just send him back out there. Run plan. Well, I don't think we have time for 15, so we're just gonna send him out for 8. Yeah, I don't even know if we're gonna get all that time back, but we're gonna pause it here as soon as Magnussen's in and have a peek at his. See if we can fine tune it even more. So Schumacher gave us some really good numbers there. Really good, solid start. We'll see what Magnussen brings back. So he's enjoying it pretty much. That's nearly an 80% confidence. That's what I said. If you can get it to 75 to 80%, that is really good going into the race weekend. So we can try and, so his highest confidence is what that is. His highest confidence is there. Doesn't really have a high confidence, but he doesn't mind where it's at. Highest confident. So this is it. This is the best setup I think we're going to get him, and we're not even going to run him. I think I'm happy with the 80%. I'm happy with what he knows about the car and what he knows about the track. Kevin, enjoy the rest of your afternoon off. That's it for you, my friend. And we're going to send Schumacher out at least for a couple laps and just see if we can get any numbers back. He's going to be able to do about 3 laps here, and then we'll get some data. So not a lot, but hopefully 3 laps brings any data back that, you know, we've pinpointed, you know, the track grips, green track rubbers getting to a point where it's, you know, not the worst. And as he comes back in, we're going to have a peek here in just a moment, see what he brings back as he's on his last lap here. And we'll figure out if we nailed it. So Kevin Magnussen with the 9th fastest time. Obviously, Mick Schumacher, we had him ease off just a little bit. So really not too worried about practice round. All in all, not bad. So obviously Mick didn't enjoy his car. He just couldn't find the confidence overall. Like, he had some things that he really liked, and he had some things that he really didn't like. So for us, it's now going into this race, we got to find a car setup that he's going to be happy with, because for Magnussen, he's rolling with just about 80% setup confidence, knowing that the car that we're going to give him is ready and he likes it. So a little bit unfortunate there for Schumacher. Again, I feel like if we could have got him out there and really ready to go, he would have been all set. But nonetheless, we're going to head to qualies and we're just going to give it our shot. So, you know, we'll have a look at the setup here and just have one more peek. So he's the most confidence at 9. Still doesn't like that braking stability. But the interesting thing is he has the most confident here. So if we pull that back, I think we're just gonna let him run with it. I know it's not the most fun setup that he probably has ever had, but you know, unfortunately that's what we got to work with. And then for Kevin Magnussen, he's enjoying it. He's really enjoying it. So I think we're just going to leave his car, and we're just going to hope that they can qualify at, you know, a decent pace. So we're just going to have a look. Welcome to qualifiers for Jeddah.
Radio check.
Okay, so my focus here today is I'm going to send out Magnussen, and I'm just going to let him do his thing. I'm going to get him out there early, and then we're going to skip until the track gets a little bit more warm. We're going to let a couple cars go out, and then we're going to send Schumacher, because I need to keep an eye on Schumacher. We can let Magnussen go out for his first flying lap and really get, you know, his feet wet, get a feel for the track. For Mick, I think we're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to him. So like a lot of people here, the track's going to get warm. People are waiting. We're going to wait for a while here. And then we're going to send out Schumacher. So Schumacher's going to come out behind some of these guys. Hopefully he doesn't have too much traffic. It looks like he's going to be okay. Not really anybody bottling him behind. Nobody really in front. Magnussen's going to come in. So he posted a pretty decent, obviously behind Carlos Sainz there, but pretty solid first lap there. As you see Mick here trying to warm up his tires. So we're just going to jump ahead, try and get him closer to the start. We'll see Mick is now out for his flying lap, as we'll take a quick peek here. So we'll use I think we're just gonna wait on Kevin to see where he drops, because that is a really good time looking at some of these other ones, like a 10th, 3/10, a second. Like there's not a lot. Obviously you have guys like the Red Bulls, the Mercedes, they're all going to be swinging out there shortly, but right now posting a really early time and having a car setup that he likes, that might be enough to squeak into qualies too. So we can see a little bit of traffic there with the AlphaTauri car. Mick trying to, I hope he does well. Obviously we couldn't find the best setup for him there. But all in all, as he comes around these final couple corners here for his flying lap, and then unfortunately for him, he is going to get bottled behind a Ferrari who is late to let him pass. Late to let him pass, coming into the pit lane, is going to drastically affect his time. That is so unfortunate for Mick. I don't know how slow he would have been, but that was easily a 1.5 seconds, easily. So big pain in the butt there for Mick Schumacher. We're going to definitely have to get him back out on the track. Still, I'm pretty confident just looking at these numbers. I'm really confident seeing where he's at, that I think Magnussen is probably going to have an okay time squeezing in. We might get him out for a late one here, but we're definitely going to have to get Mick back out there. So no point in saving the car setup. You know, his driver confidence has boosted just a little bit. So all in all, like, I think he's starting to get a little bit more accustomed to it. So we'll get the new tires on, and we'll try and get him back out there for another lap. We're going to keep an eye on Magnussen here, as I think we can squeak him out. So we're going to send him out. We're going to get some new tires on Kevin Magnussen just in case we need to send him out. If we feel like with a couple minutes left. I'm just looking at the time. Like, what I'm looking at here is that I pause. Is 10 seconds there. You know, between these three guys, sure, there's a lot. But between Magnussen, and Guan Yu in 9th, you're looking at all these times are a 1.5 seconds. Are they all going to improve? Probably not. Probably not. I think Magnussen is set to just enter into Q2, as you see Mick Schumacher. Hopefully he does not get bottled up in all sorts of this traffic. We're going to have to watch here as he starts his flying lap, or he continues his flying lap, sorry. So 1 minute and 45 seconds. A lot of traffic for Mick, unfortunately, again, but it looks like he's not being that held up by it. So we had a green, obviously, in the yellow sector too here. As he comes around the corner, is he going to be able to bump himself back up? He does not. So unfortunately for Mick, the car just isn't there. This circuit just isn't there for Mick. And unfortunately for him, that is going to be it for his qualifier. So really unfortunate start. Again, part of that blame I'm going to put on myself. Just unfortunately couldn't find the setup that he was comfortable with. And then on top of that, just the traffic after traffic. So a little bit of unlucky situation there for Mick. But we did get Kevin Magnussen into Quali 2. So we did meet that 11th. We only sent him out once. So he's got a couple fresh tires going into Q2. Q3, he should have a full set of nice new tires. But basically, we're just going to see where we can go from here. Again, not much change. Unfortunately for Mick, he's going to have to sit this one out. We got the new tires on. He's confident in this car. Let's get him out there. We're going to see what happens. All right, so same thing we did with him last time.
Ready check.
We're going to wait until a couple of these guys get going. Track grip is nice and hot, so we don't have to wait too long. We're going to send him out right now. Get him out on the track. So lots of clean air in front of him. Nobody pressuring him behind. Kevin Magnussen, again, it just depends when he comes around for his flying lap there. Hopefully there's not too much guys coming out. Bottas, but he passes him. So he should have a lot of clean air here, as we will jump in and we'll see how he does on this first lap of Quali 2. So it's an interesting game, this management system. Obviously, our number one driver being Mick Schumacher, but realistically, I mean, at the end of the day, can you really blame the guy? We couldn't find a setup that he enjoyed, or even if we found one that he was confident in, he couldn't really get a bearing on the track. And then he comes out for qualies and gets stuck behind so many cars, and that's a horrible move by one of those Red Bulls to just swing to the outside across the track in Magnussen's view. So hopefully that doesn't slow down Magnussen too much now, as it seems like the Haas cars are getting super unfortunate, super unlucky with this traffic on the track. So you'll see Magnussen come in. That's a respectable time. It's 0.6 behind Guan Yu, who posted a time. Russell's up in the lead there. So we'll bring him back in, and we'll see where we're going to... Again, we have a sponsor thing to try and get into Q3. So this isn't a one and done type scenario. As you see Magnussen now coming in, we're gonna have to reconfigure the car. We might have to send him out on this brand new fresh set, and then if we get into Q3, we have a couple of slightly used sets. So I think that's gonna be the play. You know, looking at everything else, I think he's okay. Honestly, we're just gonna let him roll with the new set, and hopefully he doesn't get bottled up in the traffic again. So let the traffic subside a little bit, then we'll send him back out. Yeah, he's getting closer to that danger zone. He's right on the cusp of the danger zone. He's now dropped all the way to 13th. So we're gonna send him out here now. Hopefully he can get in, post a nice time before, like, track's warm. There's no excuse here. It's now go time. It is now go time for the man, as we'll hop in to his point of view again. And we're just gonna hope that Kevin can pull out a miracle here. Again, he's gotta jump 0.3 of a second to get into Q3 here. Maybe Q3 was an ambitious task, being at this super fast track where we knew that the car wouldn't perform as well as it did out in Bahrain. But I believe in Kevin. I think with the fresh tires, with clean air all the way in front of him, nice and warm track, not going to be much traffic at all. Actually, no traffic at all. I think, yeah, it's a green sector 1, so good on Kevin, and just keep pushing the car. We know he's an aggressive driver. We've seen Kevin Magnussen for years now. The guy doesn't quit. He doesn't give up. You give him open space, and he's going to take it. So now it's just a waiting game to see if he can actually pull in a respectable time and get himself into this Q3. It's going to be a gamble because you got guys in those AlphaTauri cars ahead of him that are trying to do the same. Bump Ricardo out. So it's two green sectors. So the man is flying. As we'll go to our third person view here, we'll see Kevin finish this last chunk of the lap, and so far great timing. He's flying out there. The new tires, nice warm track as he approaches this final turn. This is it. See how he handles it. He likes the car setup. Is it enough to get him into Q3? We'll see in just a moment here as he crosses the finish line. Kevin Magnussen jumps to 7th. So Kevin Magnussen, the man, the legend, bumps himself up to 7th, and a really good time, a really fast time. So maybe that is enough to squeeze him into Q3. One can only hope, but at the end of the day, to jump that much, that's a respectable time from Kevin Magnussen. Everybody's out on the track now. We've had another crash in quali, so hopefully we get a Leclerc has crashes Ferrari in qualifier. So that same corner is wreaking havoc on these cars. That is the 4th crash, 3rd one there. Oh my word, this Jeddah circuit is just unbelievable. So not sure if that brings out a safety car. It doesn't look like it does. But I think because of that, with the way we have made it into Q3. So Magnussen again squeaks in by the skin of his teeth in P10 once again. So we have now met our 2nd straight bonus for our sponsors by that Q3. So wonderful little start to the race weekend. Now it's nothing left to do. Unfortunate again, I feel bad for Mick Schumacher, but our man Kevin Magnussen is doing the team proud and keeping us in it. So a P10 going in a top 10 shootout for our boy Magnussen. Not going to have any fresh tires, so it might be a bit of a stretch here to see if we can pull out anything good. Get a lap or two in and hope. You never know. Anything can happen with all the crashes and everything. So we have saved a fresh compound here. A brand new fresh compound for Q3. So what I just said, you never know. It might actually be possible.
Richard, Kevin.
Radio's good.
All right, good luck, Kevin. So we're going to send him out there. Clean air. All right, let's see if he can post a good time here. Bottas comes in with a 129.9. Alonso behind him. So we did save the fresh tires. So I guess be going into Q3, we get that fresh set of tires unlocked for us here. and see what he can do with it. I mean, he seems to keep proving me wrong time and time again as he posts a green sector there. Come on, Kevin. Let's go, buddy. I would love to finish anything higher than P10. He finished P10 in Bahrain. If he can squeak up 1, maybe 2, I'll be joyous here for Team Haas. So 2 green sectors, doing us proud. The car setup, he is loving it. I don't know how we fine-tuned it in for him being only 80%. I guess that's the magic number. Like I said, anything above 75 I think is confident, as we see Kevin Magnussen rounding this last corner here at the Jeddah circuit. As he crosses the finish line, what's the number going to be? You have Carlos Sainz. Both Red Bulls have now posted times. 1, 2, 3. Where's Kevin going to stack up as he crosses the finish line? That will jump him all the way up to P6. So far, not the best. That's actually the worst time of everybody. But you still have guys that haven't gone yet. So you never know. You never know. Like I said, it's a bit of a long stretch to get a better number than that. We're going to send him out for one more lap just because. There's no harm, no harm, no fouls. We'll send him out basically with the same tires. There's nothing left to do other than try and beat your time. So we did beat Russell. So not entirely sure what Russell had going on there. But unfortunately for Russell, we did jump a spot. So we will send him out for one more in this group. It looks like we actually may have just sent him out in a bunch of traffic. Oh, sorry, I was on Russell. So we actually have a little bit of dirty air being behind Carlos Sainz there.
I'll see you back here.
So as the checker flag comes, our option now is to just do we're going to see in just a second what Russell posts. He'll either, I'm going to guess Russell had a block, like something wrong with his car that forced him to pit early, or something that caused a bad time. So we'll probably see him cross here. Yeah, we do. He jumps up quite a bit. So in order, it's got to be 2/10 of a second faster. He does have a green middle sector. I don't know if he has enough to pass Ocon. It's going to be a stretch. He's going to have a green sector here as he's going to cross the finish line. Is it another P10 or is it a P9 for our man, Kevin Magnussen? It'll be another P10. So slow down a little bit. Unfortunate, some of these guys probably saved some soft tires, but I can't be mad. These are teams that were expected at this point in our career to be behind. So to have another P10 finish, there is literally nothing wrong with that. As you can see, the time increased in P2. That's how we got, or in Q2. That's how we got into Q3. And then in Q3, the time was better than Q1. So Kevin's showing some speed in the Haas car. I'm over the moon with it. With this.
Race day, with the teams and drivers
now it's race day.
ready and raring to go.
Haas proved quite resourceful during qualifying. That puts them in a very good position to make the most of this race start. Alfa Romeo managed to meet expectations during qualifying, and if they can keep this up, they'll have a good race ahead of them. The weather is beautifully clear tonight, which is one less problem for the teams to face. Of course, that doesn't take anything away from the unpredictability of this race.
Well, this is certainly going to be a challenging but no doubt exciting race here in Jeddah.
All right, so we are here Sunday, race day. There's not much more we need to do. We know what we got. We're going to hopefully have a little strategy here. So Schumacher, we're going to start him on the mediums, go to the hards, a 1 pit stop. We're going to get him to be aggressive early. So that's my play. We're going to get him to go aggressive early on the mediums, and hopefully he can pull it off. So at about lap 19, lap 20, he can come in and then just coast on the hard compound. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pick race strategy A for him. And then we're going to go over to our man, Kevin Magnussen, who had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful start. Similar type strategy. I think we're going to just do the one stop, obviously, for both these guys. Same thing. We're going to actually have him push harder in the second half. So we're going to have him go a little bit longer on these mediums. Yeah, so we'll go a lap longer, and hopefully he can overcut and then stay on those mediums a little bit longer so he can push the pace on those hards for 30 laps. So that's the plan here. Hopefully we can make it work. Again, all of these new strategies. Who knows what's gonna happen? But all in all, I'm excited. Let's get into the race weekend.
We have clear weather tonight as we look at the drivers in their grid positions. There we see Kevin Magnussen. And it's Schumacher as the second driver today. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. Everything's been building to this. We're now moments away from this, the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go.
Well, there you go. You heard the man. We have Kevin Magnussen starting in 10th. We're going to hop on board here. Hopefully it's a good start here for the boy. Looks like he has a decent pace coming out of the start as we'll hop back. Mick Schumacher already passing Stroll on the outside there. So we have him on the aggressive pace. We're actually going to make him go even more aggressive. Push, push, push.
Okay, Kevin, no management required, so push as much as you can.
Copy that.
That is the wrong guy. We did that last time. We're going to actually have him ease back.
Pass with an overtake there.
Okay to push.
Now as we're looking back here, so Mick Schumacher here, as we look, he is right on the heels of the two Williams cars. So we're actually going to tell him to overtake. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably wise if we don't do that without the DRS. So we're going to wait a lap or two until the DRS comes. We're just going to have him play aggressive. Hopefully, you know, not burn out the tires too much. So Mick Schumacher pushing it to the metal. Now we're going to tell him to overtake it. Switch it. Try and get him on this corner. You're going to have the inside racing line. Oh, but a little bit of a bobble there. So Mick Schumacher doing what he can. Let's see if we can get him. Come on, Mick. Come on, Mick. Okay, so unfortunately for Mick, not much going on there. We're going to give him back to the standard. No need to burn out.
We need a back off.
As for Kevin, he's kind of in clear in 10 here. Clear in 10 here. So as we switch over to the tires, let's have a look at the tires here. So yeah, we obviously have... So Mick did a good job. Even though we were having him pace aggressive, he was doing a good job with his tires, because as you look around, there's a bunch of people here with the softs on, a bunch in the hards. So Ocon is on the hards ahead of us. So we're actually going to tell Magnussen to be a little bit more aggressive here and see if we can't catch... See if we can't catch the gap between Ocon and potentially overpass him, because he is on those hards. So he's going to stay out longer. We want to try and get right here with Alonso. A quick peep back. And now we see... We're going to actually tell.
We'll catch these guys. Let's catch them.
Come on, Magnussen. Or, sorry, Schumacher. Let's go, buddy.
Okay, charge on. Charge on. Copy.
We're gonna stay on Mick here for a minute, because I think he's gonna catch these Williams cars. I have a feeling he has what it takes. He just needs to go. He needs to go. Come on, Mick. Let's go, buddy. Now's your chance. Now's your chance. Push. Push. He's right on their heels.
If you don't need it, no lifting coast.
And he goes for the inside move, and he will pass the Williams car. So that is beautiful. And now we have DRS, so we can back this off a little bit. Oh, that was a wonderful overtake by Mick Schumacher to pass Alexander Albon in that Williams car. And he is neck and neck, so he can push here.
Is that a new race position for Haas?
And he double overtakes the Williams, and now he's hot on the heels of Vettel. So there you go, Mickey boy. That is a great overtake. A couple overtakes there. So now that he's right on the heels, we can actually coast in with that DRS. We'll put the pace back on normal. Great. Just displaying that driving skill of Mick Schumacher, as he is right on the heels of Vettel now. So we'll switch back. We'll come back to him in just a minute. But now we have Magnussen over here. We're going to tell him to ease off with those mediums, because again, we're going to have Magnussen go just a lap longer. We're going to deploy some, try and close that gap, because I think we can overtake him there. Keep an eye on. We got DRS active. So we are closing the gap now. Our tires are still good. So our tires are still good. You know, we got Mick. Where is Mick here? Oh, Mick's... Okay, so we're going to tell Mick that he can also be aggressive. He's got some fuel to burn, so we're going to tell him to burn, and he's going to go for it. We're gonna give Mick the red or the red flag, the green flag to push here. And he's gonna go for it, and he is going to easily make it. So now we're gonna pull back the ERS, get that back.
You did good, really good.
Wonderful overtake. So Mick is showing, this is the faith that I had in him. This is what I believed he could do. So we're back in neutral. We'll pull off. Okay, as you see, Vettel just screaming by both of them. So not sure what's going on.
Copy.
So just that slipstream DRS zone, I guess, just caught Magnussen by surprise. Probably should have played a little bit defensive, but should be able to overtake him with his own DRS here. So he's going a little wide, so we're actually going to pull back on the aggressive play. He's got lots of fuel to burn, so we're going to leave that on there for a minute. We're going to switch back to Kevin. He is still in that play. His tires are a little bit better.
Kev, if you've got some margin, try to increase the pace a little bit.
We're going to tell him to just go for it. I want him to try and overtake Ocon here. I think he's got it. He's driving smart. Come on, Kev, push. Kev can easily overtake these guys. Come on, Kev. DRS flap open. Mode push, let's go. Whoa, what happened there? That was like, I think that was Russell and Bottas tangled up, so both the Alpine cars. So because of that, we're gonna back this off just a little bit. So with no ERS left, we're gonna slip by.
Got no ERS. Yeah, copy.
Charge on.
Copy.
Now save your tires. So nice
Copy that.
nice position game by Kev there. So pretty good. As we'll go back to Mick, who is now.
With an overtake there.
We just watched that in live time, so we're back on board here with Mick, who still has so much fuel. He has so much fuel. What's his tires at? His tires are still at 86. Looking at the other mediums, he's coming in a lap earlier. We're undercutting him. We're gonna tell him to attack here. I think this is Mick's time to try and overpass these guys. Magnussen still holding on to that 9th place wonderfully. Almost tries to cut to the inside of Latifi there and just can't quite do it. Now you'll see Mick on the inside get the overtake on Latifi. Latifi's going to get the inside play with those soft tires, but they got to be wearing out now, getting onto lap 6 here. Mick will be able to pull out. So now we're just going to play some defensive ERS here.
Yeah, good job, Mick.
Lots of fuel to work with on Mick. Not quite sure what's going on there, but we're going to leave him on aggressive pace. But wonderful. So he should be able to catch Vettel here, as we see. Tires are still okay. I'm just going to let him play around with the Oh, it's a wonderful overtake here by Mick on the inside. Let's go, Mickey boy. So Schumacher, our German driver, number 1, has now bounced up to position 16. So obviously they're going to have the DRS, so he's going to have to drive very, very aggressively here. But with lots of fuel, he can easily do that. As we go back, Ocon has passed Kevin Magnussen again. So Kevin is he's just kind of driving his own race here. We didn't have to do too much management on him, as he's just doing everything we need him to. We can focus on Mick a little bit here because he's conserving his DRS. He's obviously going to get the DRS coming down the stretch here late on the home, coming into lap 8, I believe this is. His pace is still good. He's got the fuel. We can actually tell him to push a little bit here. So as he goes for the overtake, I think he's going to go for it on the inside. Oh, he does not go for it. Very interesting not to go for it there, as both of our drivers have so much fuel. A lot of fuel to burn on both of these guys as we go. So that was Magnussen's best lap. Or sorry, Mick Schumacher's best lap. Magnussen drops a little bit, but all in all, not the worst. We're going to tell him to give it a little bit.
Mode push.
Copy that.
How are we doing with Mick? Mick has a nice little lead here. can still push. How's the tires looking compared to everybody else's? They're a little worn, so we're gonna keep him. We're gonna keep him on standard at least until he pulls away a little bit, and then we're gonna actually bump it down. So Mick's doing a great job here. Don't really need to manage him too much right now. We'll switch our focus back up to Kevin Magnussen as he's looking to put pressure on this Alpine car of Esteban Ocon, and doing a great job at that as he has so much gas to work with. His tires are still pretty good. Actually, they're better than Schumacher's. And there you go, the inside play. Oh, and he has it. Great job, Kevin.
Good job, Kev.
So back into position 9. So Kevin is just showing some muscle out here lately. He's really doing a wonderful job with the Haas car that we've given him. Again, the confidence does wonders. So now we just got to hope that he can hold off Esteban Ocon as he started to gain on Hamilton. So twice in a row, man. Hamilton, I don't know what it is with this car of... We're going to tell him to push a little bit here. The car of Hamilton in that Mercedes, he just can't seem to gain the gap. You see Hamilton's just bottled up behind Bottas here. Not quite sure what he's doing, but can't seem to find that gap. Russell did. Russell's up ahead. He's putting the pressure on Alonso. And Alonso, wait a minute. Alonso was just ahead of Ocon there. So he's jumped 4 positions in 6th now. Or sorry, he's in 5th. So Alonso having a really good race here as we'll jump up to leaders and Prez. You can see the battle between Leclerc, Verstappen, and Carlos Sainz up in the lead once again. So having a great start to this season. Verstappen doing what he can to just maintain pace. So looks like mediums for the Ferrari of Leclerc. You have hards on Verstappen and Sainz. So you got to remember Leclerc's going to come in earlier than those guys. So they're doing the reverse strategy here. So who knows what that's going to... They're all really tight together. So could be good, could be bad. We'll have to see as we switch back to Kevin Magnussen. He's got a nice little gap there. So we're going to ease off the push here. Still some gas to work with. So we're going to keep that in push mode. And just with the ERS on anything normal here, we're going to have to balance this out as we've used a little bit too much gas.
Do some lift and coast. Cover.
But all in all, both of our drivers looking pretty healthy here. Car's looking okay. Tires are still maintaining nice. We're just going to fast forward a little bit here. You see Ocon just passing Magnussen, which I just said was fully expected. He wasn't that far ahead. As you see, Vettel now past Kevin Magnussen. Or sorry, Mick Schumacher. I keep getting two M names. 2 very similar M names. Mick and Meg. Oh boy. So we're just going to let this play out for a little bit here because these are things that are, like I said, are going to be expected. If you go up to Magnussen, he's going to be battling it out with Ocon for a bit now. So great overtake by Magnussen here.
Did a good job, Mick.
Pull off that now. And then if we go to Mick, Mick is still battling it out with these guys. We can give him a little bit of push. Hopefully he can maintain that lead. We're actually going to tell him to play a little bit aggressive too because I want to maintain that position over Vettel and Latifi. If we can hang on to that, we're going to be undercutting a little bit with Mick. So he's going to be coming in probably in a lap or probably like 4 or 5 more laps. We're going to undercut him. So hopefully he can maintain that. We got lots of fuel to work with. Our tires are still relatively healthy. We're actually going to tell him to back off that just a little bit. And as we go back to Magnussen, similar boat. Obviously, we need to gain that fuel back, but just doing a nice job here, really. Both cars. This is exactly where we were at in Bahrain, if you remember. Just Magnussen was battling it out with the car in front of him. They were kind of slingshotting each other back and forth with the DRS. Just trying not to make too much errors. But if we go to Ocon, and he also has the hard tires, so it's a reverse strategy from the Alpine car here. So we got to keep that in mind. Magnussen is going to be pitting much sooner than Ocon, but if he can maintain that gap or even continue battling with it, that's going to hinder Ocon getting way far in advance when we come into the pit. So when he goes to pit, we should still be relatively close to him. So keep that in mind. Russell now up ahead over Alonso, and it now looks like Perez, who I can't tell if he pit or not, which he didn't. So Perez now slingshot. So this is just a wild leaderboard at the top here. So you see Carlos Sainz will regain the lead momentarily. He will take it. Verstappen will swing on the inside of Perez.
Nice work.
So it looks like Magnussen regained the lead from Ocon there. Not quite sure what happened, why he's so far ahead. We'll watch the replay on that one.
All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here.
But Kevin Magnussen just swings to the inside. And Ocon just looks so slow there. Very slow. So not quite sure
they clear it?
What's going on with Ocon, whether he took that. We got DRS out of that exit as well with the new recognition point, so the team's loving it. This is the things I like about this game, the detail, the team, they're loving it. Everything is so exciting in this game. But yeah, we're now miles clear of Ocon for the time being and putting pressure on Bottas, you can see. So we're actually going to tell Magnussen, actually we're going to leave him where he is, and if he closes that gap, we're going to put some pressure on him. So as you can see, Mick is doing a great job. It's now Latifi has actually passed Vettel. So Vettel's getting held up a little bit there, but Mick Schumacher now doing a great job as well. We're going to pull back on his fuel.
More lift and coast, please.
So we had that extra pace to get out ahead. Tires, let's compare the tires to others. Tires are still in an okay spot. They're a little bit on the worn side for Mick. But this is what you love to see, just the team doing what they need to do. We can actually tell Kev he can push it now. So Mick is still doing an okay job there. Magnussen is closing the gap onto Bottas. He's going to be getting that DRS very, very shortly. Mick is doing a wonderful job just holding off Latifi and Vettel, who are battling it out there. So we got some pits early, some really early pits, actually. Those are probably all the teams that started on the softs. Pull off the fuel command here for Mick. Or sorry, for, I'm going to say that a lot. It's going to take me so many races to get used to that. And we're just going to let Mick, so got that right. We're going to let Schumacher race this one out for a little bit because he is 3 seconds above Vettel and he is somewhat closing the gap just a little bit on Norris, but he's kind of racing his own race right now. This is a manager's dream, a guy just doing his own thing. He's past where he needs to pass. Remember, he started in position 20th. So Mick Schumacher having a phenomenal race here out in Jeddah, and he's going to be pitting probably coming in the next... I would say probably, yeah, 4 or 5 laps will get Schumacher in. We'll leave Kev out for 1 additional lap as we go back. And he is now 2 seconds clear of Ocon, 2.3 seconds clear of Ocon, closing the gap there.
Charge on.
Copy that.
We'll get a little bit of battery back there.
Charge off.
Copy.
Yeah, boys are doing well. We're just going to kind of cycle through this for a while now because there's really not much attention that is needed until we get to the pit window. It was, again, just kind of a manager's dream here early for us. As you see, yeah, Mick is just out nicely. As you see, Kev is actually putting the pressure onto Bottas. So Ocon, the man who is behind us.
Now have a watch of this. Looks like Ocon.
Oh no, that corner again. That is the 5th time that corner has wreaked havoc. Oh, the Alpine team is not going to like to see that. So we are now a second behind Bottas in the Magnussen car. So again, I'm letting him drive. There's not a lot I need to really do. As you see, Mick Schumacher now, he's nice and clear, 4 seconds ahead of Vettel. So the team is doing just... I'm just gonna clap for my team right now because they are doing a wonderful, wonderful job. Again, this is just when you're able to just sim through some of these laps. I guess I should really quickly pause here, check the strategy. 2 laps. So we got 2 laps on Mick and 3 laps on Kevin. So we got to keep that in mind. I don't want to just sim past and miss my window of opportunity. But the boys are out there. They're doing well. They're both just having such a phenomenal race. As you see, Kevin Magnussen 9th position, Mick Schumacher 14th. So now we've entered the pit window for Schumacher. We're going to go to lap 17. That was the original play, was going to lap 17. So Schumacher can go 1 more lap, and then we're going to get in Magnussen as well. So all in all, now that we are pitting, we can be aggressive. We can also tell Meg his tires are also pretty good. So we're going to tell Meg to be a little aggressive there as well. Put the pressure on.
Okay, Kevin, no management required, so push as much as you can.
Copy that.
He has lost some time behind Alonso there, so not the end of the world, not a big deal, but definitely can put the pressure on a little bit here, just try and close the gap. And Schumacher just honestly needs to keep doing what he's doing. He's not going to gain Norris right now, but he's also, as long as he keeps driving like this, 6.1 seconds ahead of Vettel there. So great driving by the lads. Again, we just got to be wait till Mick crosses this lap here, and then we're going to tell him he can pit. So now that he's on this lap, we're going to tell him he can pit. Pit options. We'll get him on the hards. Pit.
Okay, box now, box now.
Copy, box.
So Schumacher's going to come in and pit. Oh, he's just having a wonderful race. It's super exciting to see. So Kev hasn't really gained anything on Alonso here. He's still 2.2 seconds down. So for him, not the end of the world. We're going to tell him to box after this lap here. So we'll actually get that all set up now. Kev can pit a lap later like we might want him to go 2 laps extra. Yeah, we're gonna have him go 2 laps extra. So now we have Mick coming into the pits. So hopefully it's a good pit time for us here, as you see.
White line.
Oh, it's such a cinematic view right there. Absolutely wonderful visuals in this game. Not a bad pit stop. Not a horrible pit stop, as he's obviously going to come out because some of these guys are going to, as you look, he gets his hards on. A lot of these guys are all going to have to pit, so he's going to shift about 5 or 6 up. But a good pit stop there. He can just lightly coast now.
We need a back off.
We're going to let him just race for a little bit. We're going to let him race for a little bit longer. Now we can shift our focus to Kevin. He's doing such a good job just maintaining that distance. Not really losing any, but not really gaining too much. We're actually going to back him off as well. There's no need in pushing. You're not going to gain. He has a great gap between Guan Yu, who has pitted. Or, sorry, he started on hards, I believe. So, some things to keep in mind. It's going to be very interesting here, as we're going to now send Kev into his box. Pit window, get him on the hards.
Box.
You see Mick, a couple teams just pitted, so Mick's jumped back up to at least 17. And we're going to see Magnussen come in here shortly. So he is now in the pits. Gets his pit done. And now we're just going to have to kind of just see what happens for the next couple laps. There'll be a lot of pit windows here for the next 4 or 5 laps, so we're just going to kind of have to see what goes on. But all in all, very impressed, very happy with the boys. We're actually going to tell them to be a little bit aggressive.
If you've got some margin, try to increase the pace a little bit.
If we look at our lap history, Mick Schumacher just set his fastest time. Magnussen hasn't had his fastest time since lap 3. So Magnussen's kind of been coasting. Mick's been pushing. We've been telling him to push. We are now going to tell Kevin he can push. We can also tell Schumacher he can push a little bit, just because once the people come in, we're going to want them to be up close. So we're just going to simulate a little bit of these laps here, get the leaderboard a little bit more figured out. We're going to tell Kevin to back off there. We're going to tell Mick to back off. We're just going to let them race for a few laps here because, again, it's going to take a while here to get sorted out. As you can see, everybody's on the hards, but you got guys, like if we're looking at the leaderboard, been on hards for a while, started on hards. All these guys in the 50s have all started on hards. So the leaderboard's going to jump about 5 places. So we're just trying to get to that point where we can simulate it to see the true leaderboard, because we know Verstappen's not going to be in the lead. Sainz isn't going to be in the lead. It's really probably going to be Leclerc and Perez in the lead of this Grand Prix. So going to be some exciting stuff coming up here, and we're just going to let the boys race here for a moment because, well, actually, as you can see, Vettel is on some, or sorry, Tsunoda is on some, we might actually tell Mick here to push while they're fighting. We're going to give him a little bit of push here. We're going to give Mick the okay to actually push a bit harder, and we're going to see how this plays out. He is right behind Tsunoda and Vettel now. Less than 2 seconds.
okay out of DRS.
Copy.
He should get the DRS activation here in just a minute. Come on, Mick. Double overtake. Oh, he had it. What happened there? Oh no, Mick had it, and he just. I'm not sure if he.
And then focus on apex speed.
Oh no, I'm not sure if he missed an opportunity there or potentially thought he was gonna. Oh, that was a missed opportunity for Mick there. You hate to see that one. As now we'll switch back and Kev, we're gonna give him the okay to push.
Kev, if you've got some margin, try to increase the pace a little bit.
Copy that.
We'll see if Kev can overtake Lando Norris. So looks like a little bit of a missed opportunity there by Mick Schumacher. Now Kevin Magnussen has the okay. DRS flap's going to be open here. See if he can't pull off some magic that we've seen him pull off for a while. Tires are getting a little bit warm, so we'll pull them off. So he's in the slipstream now. He has the DRS flap open. We're going to see if he can overtake him here. Come on, Kev, go for it. Oh, man, that's great defense there by Lando, just bobbing and weaving. But I think with the flap opening right there, you should be able to see Kevin Magnussen easily overtake Lando Norris. But, I mean, Lando Norris is doing a freaking phenomenal job here. Is it going to be enough to stop Magnussen? It is. So Lando is just bobbing and weaving his way into this.
Mode push.
We need Kevin Magnussen to overtake him. We need to. He's going to be pitting. We want to be out and ahead so we can shut that gap down. He's kind of just holding us up, slowing our pace. So Mag's doing a great job, but I mean, he's got to get past. We got to get him to push. We need him to attack right now.
Come on, Kev, you can do this.
Copy that.
Let's go, Kev. Come on. He just can't pass him. Come on, man.
Haas with an overtake.
So we'll watch this replay here.
Now just focus on the Haas.
So great overtake here by Mick as we just catch up to Vettel and just the speed. Vettel being on those old hards, probably getting a little worn down.
Position there.
Gain a great position there by Mick. So great job by him getting back to near the position that he was. Again, I think it was, what, P14, P13 before we pitted. So if we can get back to that position when some of these guys pit. Russell locks up. There's been a lot of incidences everywhere.
George Russell.
Oh, just a huge tire lockup. Lucky he didn't fling himself into the wall. So slow to get back on. Unfortunately, the AI kind of just parked there while he lets a couple go by. But yeah, Wolf, I'm sure, is enjoying that one. But you see Mag is just right there with Norris and Russell. So after that lock, we're going to tell him to ease off on the tires a little bit because we should be able to slingshot our way in. Come on, Kev. You can do this, buddy. You can do this. We got to get past these guys. It is slowing us down. Come on, Kev. Make the tack. Lando is driving so sporadic here. It's actually insane. And because of that, the gap between all of these guys behind us is just shrinking. But we just don't have it in us right now. So we're just going to turn this off and we're going to... we might as well leave it on. Tell him to just keep pushing. Just see if he can gain anything there. So we'll come back to him as you now see Mick is closing the gap on Tsunoda. So doing a great job there. He's got some push in him. We'll send him off for a little bit and we're going to speed up the timeline here. Looks like Magnussen's going in for a play right now. Oh, he just about overtakes him. Come on. He's not losing any fuel. This is actually insane. We've had that on for so long. But he just can't. He's just being held up, and now Norris has passed Russell, and we are just stuck behind them both. So the fierce Magnussen that we've seen for so many years is just not showing up right now. Oh, it's you kind of hate to see it, honestly. A man that is known for just the fierce plays just can't seem to do it at all right now. It's a little unfortunate, but... So right there. So Magnussen finally overtakes Lando Norris. We should get a replay here in just a minute. So finally, 3 or 4 laps later, we make a move on the straight going into this lap. We finally get the overtake on Lando Norris, and now we can just hopefully get some clean air to catch up to George Russell here. It's not going to be the cleanest, a lot of dirty air, but there is a bit of a gap there where we can hopefully close it, get some DRS, and then pass Russell. So great to see. That was a long time, though. That took a little too long because I don't know what's going on with him here. He is not losing any gas. He's just, maybe it's the DRS and just being slingshotted in that slipstream. Must be, because he's starting to lose it now. But finally Magnussen has made a move. As you can see, his tires are still nice and warm compared to Mick Schumacher. Relatively on pace. These guys still have not pitted, so they are going long on these hards. Lots of guys actually still have not pitted, so it's going to be an interesting leaderboard because this is not the true location here. As you see Mick, we're going to slow this down. We're going to have a look at Mick trying to overtake Yuki Tsunoda. We're going to give him the okay to push.
McLaren gain a position.
So Norris re-overtakes Magnussen. We're going to stay on this here because we know that Mick can easily overtake Yuki Tsunoda here for position 15. So great overtake here. We're going to pull it back to standard.
Great job on that.
Great overtake there by Mick. So Mick is showing some really good racing for a guy who was not confident or not confident in our car in practice and qualifiers. Starting position 20th. He is doing a absolute phenomenal job to position himself in P15 even after all of the pit stops. And there's still a couple guys that need to pit, like Lando Norris. And now we're right on the heels of him. We're just gonna let these guys race for a little bit because it's gonna be back and forth. I'm sure Magnussen will swing in front of. Yeah, he will overtake him there. We don't need to see that. It's just gonna be a back and forth as you see Tsunoda trying to put the pressure on Magnussen or on Mick Schumacher there. So our team's doing an okay job here, just hanging on. As you see, here we go. We'll pause it here. The guys are starting to pit. However, I have no idea why these guys are like. You finally have some pit, but you still have Carlos Sainz. He's not. I guess he is out pretty far in advance. What is the time on that? 10 seconds.
Oh, did someone run wide there? Let's take a closer look. Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one. They're way off the racing line there. That isn't good. I think we've had a car run wide.
Hello? Oh my goodness, we lost our audio for a moment. I have no idea how long the audio was out. If it was out for a long time, I surely apologize. I don't know what just happened. I had to replug it in and I only just noticed it. But what I was trying to say, depending on how much you missed, was Leclerc will take the lead over from Carlos Sainz and Verstappen, who are both on their medium compounds now. So all in all, kind of what I expected with them both being on that hards for so long. Leclerc just free to gain into that position. If you missed it, Magnussen is back into that position, position 9th, and he's holding strong. I think he's like, with 10 laps left, as long as he drives as well, he should be okay to hold off Gasly. Mick Schumacher not doing much to put pressure onto Norris, Norris, but he's leagues ahead of these guys. So really our race is, without jinxing it, our race is pretty much set in stone for the most part. Gasly's going to be a little bit annoying, but really that's it. Leclerc is set to win his first. Verstappen and Sainz battling it out for second and third. And really that's basically going to be it for our race because, again, Mick Schumacher miles above Rick, miles below Norris. Magnussen is now out only 2 seconds, but again, like we have some room to spare here with some options if he starts getting close. So all in all, this is almost a carbon copy of the standings for our team as Bahrain. So very interesting output here. Very, very interesting to see that, you know, end of the day, with how bad Mick Schumacher hated his car, with how bad he qualified, he's going to finish in nearly the exact same position. So kudos to him for a great drive. Magnussen, kudos to him for gaining another. Actually, I think he started in the 9th, so maintaining that 9th position. And all in all, our team's just off to such a wonderful start. I mean, would I like both the guys up in a points position? Sure. I mean, I think that's getting a little greedy to some extent. You know, we're still a pretty relatively low-end team. Maybe starting to approach the middle tier of teams. We're obviously fighting it out with the McLarens there. Magnussen showing that he's got what it takes. Oh, as I say that, but now Gasly's hot on his heels, so we're actually going to tell him to be aggressive and push because we do not want to lose this position with a few laps left. So Magnussen is going to be pressured here by Gasly, who's going to turn on that DRS, and he is going to probably fly past him. So now it's up to Magnussen to really hone in and get this position back from Gasly. So kudos to Gasly for just sticking it out. Not the end of the world. We have what it takes. We've seen Magnussen pull this back in the last race. So maybe spoke a little bit too soon, but yeah, AlphaTauri managing to squeak into position 9, trying to ruin the same standings we had in Bahrain, but hopefully Kevin Magnussen can pop out. As you see, this is now Mick Schumacher, still a while behind Lando Norris, who's well ahead of him. Lap behind, got lapped by, looks like he's trying to make a play on the Red Bull there, but his race is basically over, so we can kind of just let him coast into the end. But for our boy Magnussen, this is going to come down to the absolute wire. We are actually going to tell him to harvest some going into this.
Charge on, please.
Copy.
We need this.
Charge off.
Copy.
With 2 laps left, we're going to have to tell him to attack. He has the red light. This is it. We're coming down to the last couple laps. There you go. A nice overtake there. Will he stay out in the lead? He will get the racing line. And Magnussen, okay. So not bad. That's okay right there. He can now switch back to aggressive as Pierre Gasly's going to be putting the pedal to the metal with those medium compounds. So where I thought the medium compounds might start being staggering late in the round, it's not. It's actually proving that is better than our hards. Barely, but just about. So he's going to be a pain in our side for the rest of this. As you'll see, he'll swing to the outside. So we're going to fast forward because this is basically going to be back and forth until the last lap, and then we're going to switch back to the last lap. So here we go. We have Magnussen out in front. It is now go time. Attack. You have deploy. You have everything you need, Magnussen. Get the job done for Team Haas.
Mode push.
Gasly is going to be pressuring you. And it looks like if this is actually the last lap, which I got mistaken last time, Kevin Magnussen should be able to hold on. Should. He is giving it everything he possibly has. Very little gas left in the tank. Almost no ERS. But he is doing the job. He is getting it done. As you see, Gasly just can't catch up. Again, not worried about my boy, Mick Schumacher. Wonderful race, getting up from P20 to P14. All the focus right now is on this man, Kevin Magnussen, trying to hold off from that AlphaTauri. We are now going to harvest some energy here and just use it for the last couple laps. Or last couple turns, sorry. This is the last lap.
Charge off.
Go, Kev. This is it. We're going to see Pierre Gasly give him one last run. He might have it. Does he have it? Come on, Meg. Come on, Meg. Let's go.
Mode push.
Copy that.
Is that not the last lap? Why does it say last lap for 2 laps then? Why does it do that? All right, well, we're in it for one more lap then. This is throwing me off because I guess it doesn't show because it shows that whenever the leader goes, I guess. However, that is still ultra confusing because we crossed the line while it was still checkered. It doesn't say 1 lap like it does here for Magnussen. So I'm thinking that's the last lap. But we get one more lap. Same mistake. It's kind of embarrassing, but at the end of the day, we get one final lap here for Magnussen to show us what he's made of. And he's doing a wonderful job here. A wonderful job here. We're going to get him to harvest the ERS that we can. We're going to, every corner he takes, we're going to pop on this harvest. I think even with this lap, if anything, he's a little bit more out in front than he was on the last lap. So realistically, he should have what it takes to put this one in the bag, close it out. It is going to be so close once again, but for sure, the last lap this time, he is putting the pedal to the absolute metal. We are, oh my gosh, he needs to get this job done. He is right there. Come on, Kevin. Come on, Kev. Oh man, this might actually be closer than it was last time. But I think Kevin, he will get the job done. That's it. That has to be the last lap. It is the last lap, I believe. I think it's over.
Checkered flag.
There you go. Oh my gosh, this game has the craziest way of making it seem like it is not the last lap, but that is the last lap. That's the checkered flag. Kevin Magnussen holds on for a 9th place finish. Schumacher bumps his way all the way up to P14 from P20. I'm ecstatic for my man, Kevin Magnussen. He is showing me that he still has what it takes to be a potentially number 1 driver still for the Haas team as we see him jump out here and celebrate with the team. We'll take those 2 points again. Kevin Magnussen has now gained us 4 points on the championship. Much needed. Wonderful day for racing, and I can't be upset with Mick Schumacher either. The man showed up when we needed him to. He overtook guys when, you know, we didn't think he would. He overtook guys when it wasn't the best opportunity to, and he held on. That's what I like, is he battled back and he held on from a bad qualifier. So all in all, a wonderful day for racing out here in Jeddah. That was a pretty long episode, but it was very eventful. Like, we maintained all of the practices, we maintained the qualifiers and the race. We got the job done. It's wonderful to see, as you can see, Kevin Magnussen with the 4 points. And our team Haas, we are now in 7th. Yeah, we dropped one. It's going to happen. AlphaTauri had a good race. The Alpine had a good race. Or sorry, Alfa Romeo and Alpine had a good race. Both of us get bumped back. It's going to happen. We're 3 points behind these guys. We're in a position for that's just doing wonderful things right now. As you see, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz 1-2 again. So Ferrari, the boys are running away with it early in this one. They are now plus 44 up on Red Bull. So exciting things here early in this Formula 1 Manager 22 game. As you can see, again, Mick Schumacher with the extra growth bonus there. But I mean, all in all, look at the points here. Kevin Magnussen showing us he's done it again. He is putting in points where we need him to put in. He is showing up where we need him to show up. We got the sponsor bonus. Wonderful day out here in Jeddah. Exciting things. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, we'll come back. We'll clean up all these things going into Albert Park for that Australian Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to click that subscribe button. Like the video. Tell me how your second race went. Tell me what you're enjoying about this game. It's a lot different than the old ones. A lot of similarities, but again, the easiest thing to point out is the visuals. An absolutely beautiful game. Make sure you click that notification so you know when all the Formula 1 videos go live on the channel. We'll be back for another video in a couple days. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend, guys, and stay tuned for some more content. Thanks, guys. Bye.